Xi Jinping, a biography, written by Zhong Wen. Chapter 4 Anti-Corruption Fight Against Dissidents to Capture Power. Jiang Zemin has been in power for 12 years plus the actual control of Hu Jintao for 10 years, practicing indulgence in corruption of military and political officials in exchange for his loyalty and support, resulting in the idea that all officials are corrupt, no official is corrupt, nationwide. The government has to replace the Xi's people, so it must get rid of a number of heads from the Jiang and Hu eras and establish the power system of President Xi. The people have long hated corrupt officials. They are happy that Xi has uncovered corrupt official tigers. Anti-corruption is unstoppable and easy to handle. As the tigers, big and small, were caught and put in jail one by one, the public found out that Xi Jinping was not always really against corruption, but selectively against corruption, looking for dissident officials, party officials who did not agree with him and senior officers who do not fit his taste and were not loyal to him. He focuses on politics. In fact, this is a political anti-corruption campaign. When Xi Jinping proposed that anti-corruption is always on the road, the national masses generally demanded a shift to institutional anti-corruption legislation to establish a system to prosecute and punish corruption in accordance with the law rather than just continue hastily by discipline committee members. Xi Jinping ordered the Discipline Inspection Commission to arrest people without the evidence at hand to investigate. They were first arrested, then tried and later on investigated. After trial and investigation, corruption information easily came out. The court was not needed anymore. The court has also been following the party's and President Xi's instructions on how many years or life imprisonment or death penalty to be imposed. The court just does the paperwork for the sentence. The court also gives the corrupt officials the right to appeal. However, sentenced corrupt officials understand that appeal is only a formality. If they appeal, the results are the same, the original sentence is upheld. So the condemned also learned a good lesson: fully accept, no appeal, only hoped for leniency, not to pursue family members, not to implicate relatives, and to accept their own unconditional prison sentence. The nation's people are clamoring for the normalization and institutionalization of the fight against corruption and its normal handling through the prosecutors and courts. But Xi Jinping wants to keep the anti-corruption power in his hands forever and not to let it go. The Discipline Inspection Committee is his tool, his hand. He wants the Discipline Inspection Committee to arrest whoever they want. The masses ask the government every year, like other countries in the world, to establish a system for officials to announce their assets. Xi Jinping delays it year after year, as usual. He has ignored the requests. This is because he knows that the masses will follow the trail to the root of the problem. Hiding cannot last long. Not surprisingly, Xi's own family fortune, which according to Bloomberg Finance information was $420 million in 2012, will have grown to more than $1 billion by 2021. Would all the uncovered big tigers be dwarfed? How can such a super tiger be announced in front of the whole nation? Xi Jinping's anti-corruption campaign targets senior officials from different factions who hinder his grasp of power. Ling Jihua, the director of the Central General Office under Hu Jintao, was familiar with party secrets and the power system. Xi Jinping sees him as a major threat in grabbing power from his hands. Xi, therefore, caught him for trial. So he was sentenced to life imprisonment. Su Kaiho was a general who was cultivated by Jiang Zemin to take charge of the personnel and organizational power of the military commission. Xi Jinping could not manipulate him as he wished and so was eager to get rid of him. Su Kaiho was isolated for bribery and corruption, expelled from the party, imprisoned for introspection and charged with conspiring with Zhou Yongkang and Bo Xilai in a coup against Xi. In 2015, he died in prison. The next position Xi Jinping was looking to fill was that of Guo Buxiong. He was the vice chairman of the military commission. After the removal of Su Kaiho, Xi started to catch Guo Buxiong. In 2015, Guo Buxiong was under incarceration review for the crime of bribery, but no data of how many millions of bribes was released. In 2016, he was sentenced to life imprisonment. Guo Buxiong was born in 1942 and is still in prison. Sun Zhengkai was the secretary of Chongqing Municipal Party Committee, the King of Southwest China, after Bo Xilai, born in 1963, young and promising, regarded as a candidate for the Standing Committee of the 19th National Congress, or even called the ideal candidate to replace Xi Jinping. He was not the second generation of the Red Generation, belonged to the group faction and was regarded by Xi Jinping as a major problem in his heart. In 2017, Xi took advantage of his meeting in Beijing, detained and imprisoned him. He was sentenced to life imprisonment in 2018 for taking 170 million yuan in bribes, accusing him of conspiring to seize the top leadership. Li Yuanchao was formerly the Central Organization Minister and was widely regarded as a confirmed member of the Standing Committee at the 18th National Congress in 2012, but was suppressed by Jiang Zemin and replaced by someone of Jiang's choice. Li Yuanchao only continued to be a member of the Politburo because he did not belong to Xi Jinping's faction. After the 18th Congress, he was removed from the post of Organization Minister and in 2013, he was given the title of State Vice President, a powerless position, until 2018 when he retired without a word on the grounds that he had reached the right age. Liu Shaoqi's son, Liu Yuan, is in charge of logistics in the Military Commission, and is considered the best candidate for vice chairman of the Military Commission, but he does not belong to Xi Jinping's faction. Xi Jinping supported Mao's restoration of the Cultural Revolution. Liu Yuan also went along with the Mao-Lu feud. However, Xi Jinping still does not trust him. Because Xi cannot catch any corruption evidence of Liu, he has transferred him out of the Military Commission to the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress Finance Panel, so that he can serve as a virtual title without real power in an idle position. Communist dictatorship and corruption have become a fixed malignant, unspoken rule. No official can take bribes, but collective bribery has become a fixed system. The top and bottom are not taken seriously. In the Hu Jintao era, the Audit Office also announced every year that it had found tens of billions of yuan in typical small treasuries of a certain ministry. The so-called small treasuries are bribes received or collective corruption and are scraped from land finance, which has not yet been distributed according to the size of the official position. In Xi Jinping's era, the audit information obtained by the Audit Office will not be published but only be used as a tool for Xi Jinping to arrest people, to crack down on dissidents at any time. Xi Jinping has been fighting corruption for several years, catching tigers and flies, and catching hundreds of thousands or even millions of corrupt officials. There is no exact figure, but even if they are a million or several million, they account for only less than 5% of the total tens of millions of Chinese party and political officials. According to mainland research institutions, the exposure rate of corrupt officials is 4%. That means 95% of corrupt officials are safe as long as they do not offend His Majesty and they can continue to do their jobs in peace. The American leftist Li Dunbai, who was deceived by the Maoist Communist Party and worked for Mao, returned to the United States after 16 years of unjust imprisonment. He used his fame in the Cultural Revolution where he was the head of the Foreigners' Rebellion Corps and no one knew about him, and so he opened a consulting service in Seattle under his name. He was able to lead the way for American businessmen to invest in China and bring them to find connections, and with his reputation, it was easy for him to get through the official circles. Foreigners are also familiar with the unspoken rules of the CCP officialdom, where bribes have to be prepared equal to 3 to 5% of the investment. Generally, they have to follow this unspoken rule to make it work. Large companies have large bribery rules, small companies have small company requirements. A Hong Kong business owner has confessed that he opened a 500-worker lighting factory in Dongguan, and every year on the occasion of 3 major holidays, the Chinese New Year, May Day, the Mid-Autumn Festival National Day, he offered money to several top government management department, police, customs, taxation, health bureau, village and town governments. Each time he sent 30,000 yuan in red packets to each of his 5 top bosses. This is true for a small factory and can be inferred for a large factory on a proportional basis. If you want to settle the case in court, you have to pay a bribe, which is roughly 10% of the amount of the lawsuit. A large hotel in Qinghai was forced into bankruptcy because of the construction of the highway through the hotel. The hotel owed the bank a construction loan of $20 million with interest for many years. The lawsuit went to court. The court ordered him to pay $20 million. He had no money to pay. The court told him to give 10%, or 2 million yuan as a bribe, and the case would be closed. The construction of the highway made him bankrupt, but paying 2 million to eliminate the case is really wrong. So he fled abroad. If the Xi Communist Party wants to rectify, it would be very easy. That doesn't matter if the targets are large companies or small business owners. When Jack Ma privately disagreed with the central government and was disrespectful to Xi the Great, the Xi Communist Party announced that he would be fined 18 billion yuan for having counterfeit goods in Alibaba's online stores. He is in the country and has no choice but to admit the penalty.